Blessings and wholeness, family. One love. What's up? Jesse Tree here. Hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm having a beautiful day. It's been a busy day. It's been a hectic day. Feeling that Capricorn energy in this moon day. So, don't know if that's what's going on with y'all, but I'm here for my usual 4 o'clock juicing with Jesse. We're gonna make a recipe, and I think Nabiha and Jerome. I don't know if Jerome's gonna join. Hadn't heard back from him yet, but I think Nabiha is gonna join us pretty soon. So, one question. Oh, hi Jules, Jules, what's up? Question I have to put to y'all today is, how is your heart? There's been a lot of earth changes going on. I think 2025 is going to be a year of massive transformation, and our nervous systems are challenged by this. We just did a class over the weekend. Thank you all for everyone who came. It was really fun to have you here. We covered herbal tincture making and herbal basics, about herbal energetics, and how to recognize what herbs are good for what conditions, because you'll see, for instance, maybe you have a cough or a cold and you go to the herbal section of your natural food store and they have something for generic thing for cold and flus, and it's got like 25 things in it, and that's what we call shotgun herbalism in the trade, where you're just kind of throwing everything you got at something. And there's a lot of complex phytochemistry that may be synergizing, maybe not, maybe causing different effects. So it's good to understand how we have unique energetics, unique dosha types based on our astrology, that coincide with the endomorph, ectomorph, mesomorph typology that sort of Western physiology and health sort of recognizes, and that's like the doshas of Kapha, Pitta, and Vata, and how the elements of earth, wind, fire, and water show up differently in the different plants and differently in people. So it's partly what I want to do during these lives, is educate and facilitate as best I can some healing to you all, some information about how to use herbs effectively. So an instance of this that I use fairly frequently is just, for instance, if you have a respiratory condition and you take something like Osha, which is a respiratory herb, but it's warming, or a lot of people will hit, when they're sick, they just take the oregano oil. But if you have a dry, raspy cough that's not productive, that will inflame and infuriate that cough. And so you would want something more demulcent and cooling, like licorice root or slippery elm, So just something to be attentive of. We all recognize this, but not in ways that we're cognizant of, like the way chili makes you feel, or garlic, versus like watermelon or cucumbers. There's this warming or cooling effect that is in foods and in our bodies, and balance is about it, having we do it through sympathy and antipathy. So sometimes you can cool off, like people in Mexico do. If they're too hot, they'll eat chilies. It'll expire the heat to through its circulatory action to the periphery of the system, and you sweat, and by that you cool down. So it's not always clear. It's like but herbs are very forgiving, but you want to understand that you're trying to do this balancing. And that's what I love about breatharianism and fasting, is that your body is seeking equilibrium and perfect balance all the time. Every cell in creation is seeking vitality and balance, and its natural mode is to be thriving and vital. So this is how we do it in herbalism, is to be attentive to these herbal energetics and the energetics of people. And it also extends to like your mental scape. So for instance, people who are high anxiety, that high tension is like high yang, it's good to have nerving, cooling herbs and foods that will, instead of warming things and alcohol and coffee and things that will overstimulate and overexpress those yang tendencies. So just part of the Tao, part of, seeing the reflection in the all through the plants and in our own bodies, in our own temperaments, and using that reference point to create and find balance for yourself. And we can also do this in nature with permaculture design by being attentive to the flows and energies of earth, wind, fire, and water, and how they're showing up and representing what needs what where. So it's a very simplified system that was developed by the ancients all over the world, whether it's alchemy from Kemet, or Taoism, or Tibetan medical systems, or Chinese, or Ayurveda. They all had these, or Native American, this understanding of elemental energies that are present in plants and people. So with that, I'm making myself, it's starting to warm up here, and I was so stoked to find in the store some pineapples and some watermelons and papaya. And since Costa Rica, I just craved that tropical fruit so much. So I was very excited. So today I'm going to make a pineapple mandarin juice with a little bit of tart cherry concentrate. And I'm switching up my breatharian practice a little bit. I've been continuing on the 23 hours of dry fasting every day and juicing for an hour. But you may have, if you've been following me for a while, you may have seen my earlier videos on this journey. I'd have like a great big half-gallon juice, and then I'd have like my Purium superfood drink with herbal tonic tea, and then I have my, kombucha, and then I would have my chocolate elixir, and it was too much, have some seaweed, and it's just like my Aries tendency, the fire tendency to, even though I practice temperance and stuff, it's like when I turn on, when I let myself eat, I just want to go for it, But I've simplified, so I'm just doing a half-gallon of juice and maybe a little bit of seaweed and about a half-gallon of an elixir. And there's Nabiha, my sister. Welcome, sister. I invite you to some herbal questions today, and that's great because I've just been in an herbal mood. But anyway. Oh, hey.
Hey.
There's you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear all the noises first?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I'm just gonna leave this little place. It's taking like 5 minutes. Can I come on back again?
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. So can I come back again?
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna make juice for a minute. Okay. So here we got, nothing big, just a recipe. I feel like this is my passion, and the way I can support the community is I love herbs, and I love juicing, liquidarianism, breatharianism, permaculture. So what we got here on social media is the show and tell, and just the sharing of the things we love in our arts. So beautiful pineapple. We don't usually get them this nicely into Mexico. And you can plant this back in. I've had not good success in the desert trying to grow pineapples and avocados and pots or citrus trees or any of that. I do grow them successfully. I'm able to grow at my dad's greenhouse. I grow Meyer lemons and limes, which is pretty cool. And we have grown banana in there before too. So that was fun, but it was not as productive as some of the other plants. And having that greenhouse gives you a lot of cheat room, but it's still very arid here, and I find that tropical plants just don't do very well. But so sort of the medicinal action of pineapple, there's something that you can do with all of this. Sometimes I juice it. I don't know why I'm not doing it today. Maybe I'll do it with the rest of it. But there's medicine and benefit in this, and a lot of the digestive enzymes, and it's really good for kidney and liver health. So you can take these and boil them in water, and what they call susto juice that you can drink for kidney and liver health. But not today. Maybe I'll juice these other. See, this side had a little bit of funk, so this side will be a better one to use for that because it's like fresca. Gotta let the puppy dog in. Welcome everyone. Greetings. Just making juice and vibing, and Nabiha is gonna join here in a sec. So, give me a shout out. Where are you at? Are you juicing? You got any good recipes you can suggest? It's kind of what I want this to be, is like a resource, if possible, that we can all share, and help each other, support each other through just sharing recipes and connecting and sharing information. So, and I welcome anyone, anytime, to come join for a conversation. If I'm doing one of these lives, I do them every Monday. If you're new here, and it's my one shot because I'm trying to limit my time on the electronics and be more engaged in the real world. And I'm enjoying that process. I find it to be very helpful to my mind. So I'm going to continue doing that. But I do love all my family and connections here. And so these lives are my way of reaching out and connecting and offering my service in what way I can. So yeah, these ones will go in skins and all. Oh, can't fill that Nama up too much. Also, if you need a Nama juicer or you're interested in, health coaching, you want to get on a juice cleanse or superfoods or herbs to support you, I would, of course, love to be your humble servant in that way as well. Turn this on while I finish here. But so yeah, as you may know, pineapple is very high in enzymes. It's very good for dissolving, mucoid plaque and just digestive gunk. You think about how our bodies has these miles of intestines that everything has to go through, and the kind of foods we eat. How easy is it to clean up after cutting some fruit up versus cooking a bunch of meat and cheese in a pan? The cleanup on that, So, and then when you combine things like citrus or pineapple that have these solvents, and it, breaks up that stagnation and that plaquing, and it gets all hung up all over the place. Most people are actually filled with much more, food than they realize, and it was very interesting to me. My journey into liquiditarianism still is. I'm drinking I would say 95% of what I consume is straight liquid, like juice or, nut milk, some blended in powders, stuff like that. But I still, of course, use the bathroom. And but I used it a lot when I was first, going liquiditarian. Even after being raw for many years and fasting, I had a lot in me. And if you think about how much food, if you put it all in a pile, all the food you ever ate, how much food that would be. And all of that passing through your mouth, through your intestines, and out of you. It's no wonder, we pick up disease because there's all this stuff that's connected in on our food along the day. And so that's the other reason why I'm passionate about permaculture and sharing about that, because we need to regain food sovereignty and heal our environment. Doesn't matter if you're breatharian like Superman, you still gotta breathe. You're still connected with all the beings on the planet. So we need to make this our utmost priority. I think this is a matter of international security. But this is the thing that would unify humanity. We don't need an adversary to unify. We could come together and heal the world because we want to have it safe, healthy, and beautiful place for our children and grandchildren, full of beautiful fruit and beautiful water, animals. So I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but it's it's something I think we should try to gain energy around. It's enough. It's not quite enough. I think we all feel it. To just keep going on, feeding the matrix, you know, um, ignoring our self-care needs, you know, watching it all sort of in entropy. Um, though I do see it, so many people are taking to the lifestyle of kind of a back to nature movement. I think it's that thing of never back, always forward. But to integrate economics, ecology, and human needs, to marry those things is how we're going to get out of this. We need to make money in the current system. We need to heal the earth. We need to heal ourselves. And I see the center point of that all focusing on the right. Our, our niche in the ecology, because we are kind of presumptuous as human beings, thinking that we're of all importance. But I would wager that the butterfly and the dolphin is just as important as any one of you or I. You know, who attaches the importance? The humans attach importance to the humans. You know, I wonder if the other animals do. I wonder if they think in those ways. Um, there's a great book called Ishmael that I highly suggest if you haven't read. It goes into our psychology, our cultural psychology, way back to some things that have been, from the Bible that people don't quite understand this whole thing of like Cain and Abel and moving to pastoralism and animal husbandry and killing. Someone put up a post recently about how come we can feed 56 billion animals to feed the humans, but we can't feed 8 billion humans. And in permaculture, we learned that we can grow 8 acres worth of food on 1 acre by designing in a way that's layered like a forest. So you have an herbaceous layer of nettles and mint and daylilies and strawberries and raspberries and, all your little things. And you have your shrub layer, your understory of currants and, blackberries and, pardon me, elderberries and all the wonderful things. And then you have understory tree layer where you have dwarf fruit trees and nut trees, and then an overstory, and then you have this stack. And it's much more resilient. If something doesn't make it, then there's all these other plants that'll feed you, and much more beneficial for the ecology and the animals and the whole ecosphere. So it's just through design, and human beings have been able to design. You can scale it to whatever scale there are projects in Africa and India and China even that are massive, like thousands of square miles. Hey there, Jules. What's up? Great to see you. Wow, vegan family. Hey, we should get together. It's been a long time. It'd be nice to catch up. Love to hear how your journey has been going and keeping up with you a little bit. So, good to see you there. Just gonna rinse this stuff, pardon all the noise and everything. But yeah, there are ways, though I favor, of course, from my ahimsa Buddhist perspective, ahimsa. But there's ways to be more ahimsa non-violent and our way on the land, on our own bodies. For those of us who choose to eat animal foods, to do it in a way that is nurturing to the land, that is as gentle as possible and loving as possible to the animals. versus what we have, which is like this industrialized killing machine that is just atrocious. The inhumanity, if we had to hunt and kill for ourselves, I think a lot of carnivores would have gone carnivore. You know, I don't want to pick fights or anything. I don't want to cause divide. I think you eat what you eat, and that's none of my business. So really, I must stay in my own lane and send love and kindness to all beings. But um, there is a way to do it. There's a misnomer in the vegan community that animal husbandry means ecological destruction. But there's a way to do that that actually improves the ecology. So we just got to get smart to it, and I think we want to. But I think it's this thing that we're missing the connections. I know we are. We're craving it, and so involved in social. Have created a lifestyle like this to slow down and enjoy it the way we ought to. Because what is it about human beings? It's our ambition. If you look at like a mountain lion, they just get up when they're done rested. There's no to-do list. When they're motivated to eat, they go get some food, maybe try to find a partner, take a nap, you know. And most of the beings live like this. We're the only beings, I joke in our classes, we're the only beings that pay to live here. Pay to live in a building, pay for food. All the other animals do it for free. And it's us being, addicted to our system, for lack of a better word. Because it's so convenient, and we know this, a lot of us have gone through our transformational periods, and usually they're uncomfortable, they're not easy, and our culture is always trying to create this false sense of ease in the form of marketing opportunity, essentially. And I see this, I'm grateful, and it makes my heart glad to see how many conscious businesses people are starting to create online with like juice, coaching. I'm a certified juice therapist, by the way. I'd finished my juice therapy certification. I haven't got my placard yet but permaculture arts, or creating crafts and jewelry, or energy tools like crystals and copper stuff, and so we have this rare opportunity now, where we're at, sort of best of times, worst of times, because we have access to money and resources and stuff, that I'm trying to just do as much as I can to take any bit of money and stuff I have into transformation of land and health for myself, my community, my family. Nabiha says, I'm ready in Fiverr. So sorry for this. No worries, Nabiha. It's cool. Nabiha's coming, y'all. We're grateful you're coming. Excuse me while I'm going to keep working on this. Right there. I always like to rinse this good stuff out of here. Waste not, want not. So yeah, that's something you can do with the in terms of waste not, what not. Use these skins for kidney liver tea. It's tasty, You can sweeten it a little bit, but it's pretty good just by itself. And it's good second use, zero use, waste usage of your pineapple. Though with nature, nothing goes to waste. I don't think human beings will ever stop littering, because we had millennia where we were like taking fruit and just like, leaf. So I think we need to make biodegradable packaging, or move to a more raw, veg-oriented society. Animals will degrade too. Can get funky. So, welcome, Deva for Wellness. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for your patience while I make juice and while we're waiting for Nabiha. I'm gonna do a little reveal here. You may have caught it already. But I just got a fresh ink yesterday. My one of my power plants, the pine. I encourage everyone to find your power plants. If you know uh, they call to you, you'll know them, and they're ones that you always just had a loving connection with. That always feel like supportive. Mine are cacao, nettles, pine, osha, and cannabis. I'm very fond of trees. And that's the other fun thing about being in permaculture is just planting trees. Most of like the concerns about carbon, about food, we could just solve with planting trees. So how do we do this, family? Let's brainstorm. Let's figure our way to the realization of this. I've long had dreams and wishes to do like giant tree planting programs and ecological restoration on a like scale, big, you know. And we live in Chimayo. Put this in the fridge. We live in Chimayo in northern New Mexico. And here, I'll take you outside a minute while we wait for Nabiha. And this valley, the Rio Grande Valley, is where people have been sustained from in this area for ages. And there's certain orchards and stuff in Velarde, for instance, that have varieties of apples that are found nowhere else on Earth. So it's there's a jewel here. I don't know if you can see. This is my food forest property. We've got some cob dwellings and such. And I imagine food forests, agriculture through the entire valley, and what that could do economically and environmentally for the area in terms of creating business, healthy, fresh food. Gonna have to reclaim food sovereignty. I know as a breatharian, it's kind of an odd thing to be getting into here, but I'm not completely there yet. I feel like I'm getting closer, and it just has to happen naturally. It's not something you can force. So I honor that. I am breatharian, but to be, level 4, whatever that is, you don't eat anything at all. And people will give you slack, all kinds of flack if you're anywhere in between, not realizing that how the trials of the journey. But that's okay. So yeah, also if you need a juicer, we offer Nama juicers through the Juice Guru Institute. There's Nabiha now. I'm gonna let her on. Just rinse this real quick and we'll do the full wash. Do that later. Hey, Nabiha.
Oh my goodness, sorry about that. I'm always driving when you are on live.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, it seems like that's the timing. I'm just glad you're here.
Oh yeah, I'm good to be here. This is a good timing. The sun is just setting right now.
Nice,
It's like a beautiful sunset. Yeah. So
nice.
I just parked outside the house. I know it's a lot of people in the house. The minute I walked in, it's like, yeah, it's a
I,
lot. Yeah. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. I was starting off talking about how it's been a really busy, kind of hectic day, but it's been a good day. A lot of good
It's
things
nice.
activated and, you know, started up some projects and some stuff that have been waiting for me. So I'm happy about all that.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
just wanted to,
good to hear. Yeah, the universe will always direct you in the
yeah.
right direction. It's exactly what you need, even though, we complain about like, oh my God, why is this happening right now? Why do we have to do this now? But
Just flow with it. Yeah.
It's always like I really trust it. Like anytime like my direction takes a different turn,
Yes.
I know it's the universe that's redirecting me. So
It's
I
supposed to
mean,
happen. Yeah, that's the
yeah,
best thing.
yeah. Your hair is forming.
Yeah, it's coming along. It's been almost a year now, so
It's
it's
locked now. Yeah,
yeah.
it's been a year since you cut it, right? Yeah, me too. Look, it's been a year.
No,
I think we cut around the same time.
it's been almost a year since I started locking it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So how long has it been since you cut it off?
I think it was about 2 years ago,
Really?
actually. It took a long time for it to grow, long enough to even start locking again, you know.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. So you
So
you cut off when was it like 2023?
I guess so, yeah. I
Mm.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I took a little time after you. When I moved to Minnesota, that's when I cut mine off.
Mhm.
But I'm not planning on locking it again. I just let it be.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just let it be for a little bit.
Yeah. I just, you know, if I leave it long, I know I'll just shave it again. And I like it locked. It's, it suits me. It's part of I feel like, a lot of the Rastas talk about it as their covenant with Rastafari, but they speak of it in terms of like a covenant with being a natural person,
Mm.
of the, and, you know, that whole thing of their extensions of your nervous system, that's the same if they're unlocked. Um, but to wear long hair, at least, is like
To let it
for men
grow.
and women both has chronic benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Sort
Mm-hmm.
of helps you. I think of our body as basically a uh, transmitter receiver for our consciousness, and that so these are kind of antenna that help with transmission, wireless transmission, and
Mm-hmm.
reception. My consciousness, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we are the transmitters.
Yeah.
Whether it comes through the hair, comes through, like we are the transmitters. I believe really we are like these devices that just tap into a consciousness and then we are.
hmm Yeah,
So,
it's really interesting. I've been watching this silly show with my wife about this British punk rock star who dies, and he's like kind of haunting this lady, and they're trying to get to the mystery of like how he died, and you know, it combined with some stuff I've been listening to about Buddhism, because there's this whole thing of like, why is it I don't remember my last life if I had one, right?
yeah. That's what it's called. Why I don't remember my past life if I had one. What did
No, that's not what the show's called. I
Okay.
forget what the show's called.
Okay.
Gosh, I'll get it to you. It's an interesting show though, because he's trying to sort out, like, why am I kind of stuck here, like haunting people when I want to move on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like he was a good guy and a bad guy. He had addictions and a temper, but he had a good heart and did good things, and made good music, and um, um, and it just plays into the whole ideas about consciousness and reincarnation and all those kinds of thoughts, because like what the Buddhists say is that the reason why you don't remember your last life is because your body is part of your subconscious mind, and this is the gross part of your mind, not the subtle part, right? And when the gross part dies, the subtle part of your mind no longer associates with it because it's gone. Um, so it lets go of everything connected with it, you know.
I
Um,
think I made a post about that. The hell and
yeah.
heaven is in the mind,
Mhm.
and like it just makes sense to me. That's why I don't believe in all these fairy tales, because it's like this is my tool, this is my vehicle, and every program that I programmed belonged to this vehicle. So once I leave this vehicle, there's no way I will remember the program, because this program was just, instilled in this. It's like, you have all these device. Let's say like you have an iPhone today, and whatever you downloaded in that iPhone, if you choose to buy another phone, you don't download everything from that phone into the new one. Like now you can do it. Like I think that's what reincarnation is. If you can transfer the consciousness from this phone into the other one and you can continue, then you can remember. But like if you think about it, it's just like, okay, you drop this phone and then this is the new one with Claire. Like, it's a new memory, everything is new, and that's how we become newborn again.
Mm-hmm.
But the soul can be old.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it just embodies like a new body every time. And it's, yeah. So, like, for me, it's more like this whole journey is like, okay, how can I remember? How can I transfer my data into the new, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And if I
Totally.
if I remember that and I know like, okay, hey, I've experienced this before, this is something that I have seen, I won't go back to the same again. So I won't reincarnate if I remember my past.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like,
Totally.
but since I don't
Totally.
remember every time I leave, like I drop the memory with the body, and now I get into a new body, and it's like, okay, clear slate again. I have to restart everything again and restart everything again. But how can I carry the memory from this body into the next realm?
That's kind of what the Buddhists would call karma, you know.
Hmm.
And I want to clarify because it's part of our discussion that Buddhism is not a religion or a
Hmm.
belief system. That you could be an atheist and be a Buddhist, be a Christian and be a Buddhist. It's just a system of understanding, you know.
Hmm. Hmm. I hope that's what it is, because it's just like, going from one rabbit hole to another rabbit hole. All the belief system is the same, no matter what they're called, it's just the same. It's just
Totally.
another program, yeah.
So, and this comes through in astrology too. And actually, the whole idea is of reincarnation. It's now accepted by, the Pope and all that kind of stuff. It's also in astrology. It's in astrology. It's in all of the world's traditions, and then sort of it changed during sort of the retooling of the Bible, you know, to be this thing of like you die and then you go to heaven, or you die and go to hell. You got one life, that's it,
Hmm.
you know. Um, so according to astrology, there's like a trajectory of the soul and its learning, that has, things it desires to learn, to grow, and that the whole idea also stems from the ideas of the law of one, that there's like one consciousness that's split into a million to have a million experiences that will then coalesce and bring
That's consciousness.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
just what
that's
mind
consciousness.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a like logically to me, like that everyone is a little device and it's like a one consciousness. That makes sense, because the time that I realized everybody's just tapping into the same information, it's like you tap into something, I tap into it, and I'm like, okay, we are not even connected in that kind of realm, but still we had the same information within us. So that's when I realized, oh, we must be streaming from the same source,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So then you can be like the different consciousness and how we receive information depends on the device that you carry, right? Like let's say like some people have like radios and an iPad, right? You receive different information because the radio is limited to what connection and how it can connect to things, right? So it's the same thing like when someone is more understanding of what's beyond. It's just that they carry in a device that can stream, that can receive that information, so they can. So does that make sense? Like, am I
Yeah,
making sense? But yeah,
totally. You just get
yeah,
that, there's a lot of people that, channel. I think we're all channels,
yeah. We are
but those people who are really good channels just have clarity on their channel.
exactly. It's just like that device. They are advanced device. Does that make sense? Like
It's
you
not
can you
that
can
they're different.
practice, meditate, and
It's not that they're different. They just have a clear signal, you
hmm.
know?
And it's not like anybody can be a clear signal, right? Like
Yeah.
you can go from a radio, like we all been that radio that didn't know. We were all the victim of this reality, right? When you are the victim of this reality, you are literally the radio because you can't even stream from the source. because now you are just like everything else. You think you are the body, you think you are the story, you think everything, right? So it's like you are your connection to the source is limited. So when you grow into like more awareness of yourself, and when you realize like, okay, this is just a story, right? And now you can stream better. So you upgrade yourself to a different device and different device so you can stream better. Does that make
I
sense?
totally that
It's
totally aligns
anybody
with the
can.
whole Buddhist architecture of thought too. In that, like, you know, like, so this Rinpoche I was listening to this morning was talking about, those people. I'm kind of like one of these people. Work hard, high integrity.
Hmm.
Make
Hmm.
have good things to share, but difficulty. It seems some kind of blockage in the success. I feel happy. I feel successful, but in aspirations or in ambitions, to grow, it's been challenging. And he's like, well, that could have been you being a thief in your past life. So yeah, you can see, and he points out, other things like someone who's stingy and miserly, uh, might be in poverty, you know,
Hmm.
even though particularly people in poverty, it becomes a tendency to want to like hoard and grasp. But generosity is what creates the
My body
sort of end.
is,
So
yeah.
you can see how these affect us just in one lifetime,
Hmm.
but over the course of many lifetimes of habit. And,
Hmm.
and so I think we do carry the memory, because there has been, have you ever checked out Dolores Cannon at all? I, I think I talked to you about her before, but
Yeah.
she was just a
Oh yeah,
psychotherapist
yeah.
who was
Yeah, okay,
doing
okay, yeah.
hypnosis, and
Mm-hmm.
she was getting into people's past lives as being dolphins
Hmm.
and atoms and stones and
I mean,
all
like
kinds
we
of
are
things.
energy, we can take any shape. I really believe that.
Hmm.
But as far as like carrying a story, even like when you just have like when you hit your head, you even forget. Just you get Alzheimer's, you forget your story, right? So it's easy to forget, but that something stays. That we all have that memory of like being more than this body, for example,
Hmm.
right? That's that. That's that. What do you call it? Like when the computer have this hard drive, like there's a signature in your essence that just knows like, okay, hey, I'm more than this. So we all get lost in these stories. Like maybe you reincarnated so many times, and every time you reincarnated, you get lost in a story, right? But then again, there's something that brings you back to just remembering yourself. I disagree in a lot of things when people say like, okay, hey, I must have been like this and like that in my past life, that's why I'm experiencing this and that. I just think it's like, the story that you built today, like how you are programmed today, and the genetic that you carry, like say, let's say like, this body of mine right now is the gene of my mother and my father, right? And both of them have like other genes, and those genes carries like different habits and different belief system and different things that stays in my body. So my body will remember the things that my grandpa and my grandmother and all of these, my ancestors, it will remember that. But when it comes to the part where my soul is like, okay, hey, I need to remember that this is my essence. This is a body that I'm just living in, right? It's like two different things, remembering like your essence and remembering the story that you carry, right? Because I'm carrying genetics, like genes that have carried habits. And
Hmm.
does that make sense, or am I just
Does
mumbling?
no, it makes total sense. There is once again, there's sort of the combination though of the physical aspect and the non-physical aspect, because
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's kind of what you're explaining is essentially karma, because there's this law, this chain of causation. So karma doesn't even have to relate to past life, future life.
Hmm.
We see, we do something and it creates an effect, and
Hmm.
then you get a different result based on something you chose to do.
Hmm.
you know so the day you plant the seed isn't the day you reap the fruit, and the things we're dealing with today is stuff from before. and
Uh-huh.
And so whether past lives are relevant or future lives are relevant or not, that chain of causation of karma is something that we can use skillfully or unskillfully
Mm-hmm.
to,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and the Buddhists would say that's the things that you do carry on, are merit, are, uh, doing acts of kindness, uh, being helpful, being a benefit to your community. These things you get benefit from in the moment in terms of like it feeds your soul. You feel a certain sort of fulfillment that you don't get when you're concentrated on yourself all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to
Mm-hmm.
just pleasure yourself or whatever, you know. Um, and that, uh, when you do those things, this habituation, just like with breatharianism, you develop a pattern, you're consistent with it. That pattern takes on its own life. You don't even have to think about it. It just happens that way, and that energy is what we carry that into other lifetimes that, start
Mm-hmm.
to propitiate results that we're like, okay, confused because we don't know the reference point. Like, well, but
I feel like the worst, like if karma is like, I don't know if everybody sees karma as like something bad, or
a lot
I
of
don't.
people do, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
generally.
like if it's the lessons that we have to learn from our past life, or if it's like whether it is a good lesson, bad lesson, whatever it is. I mean, like the worst suffering for me, at least, I think it's like be alive and not know what are you doing here, right? That's
Hmm. Yeah.
like most of us are like, okay, what is this? What is even life? What is this? Who am I? Where am I? Right? We only know the surface of the story that we were told, like our nationality, where we came from, our gender, the things that you human, the worldly stuff. But
Hmm.
beyond that, not knowing that and always like wondering what, right? Even consciously or subconsciously, there's something within us that's always wondering, like, okay, what are we doing here? What is all of this? Right? So that is suffering itself, just not
I,
even knowing, right? So then we
mhm,
have the whole lifetime just figuring that out, right?
mhm.
But then we have this paradox of like, okay, the story that we carry in our body and the story that we carry in our soul, like which one do we follow, right? So sometimes like you think this is the soul mission, and then it's like genetically habits that just came down from your family. Does that make sense?
Yeah, according to, Buddhist and other sources, astrological sources and such, those
Hmm.
we choose our genetic line and family for specific lessons and for the specific biology that we'll have to be able to, live that out, you know.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
more important for the soul's growth, you know. The way I've heard it talked about, it's like, from Dolores Cannon, because she talks with ETs and angelic forces and stuff through people, not through herself, not as a medium, but that these channels come through, and that the soul and the other realms, or source or whatever, are like, yeah, man, I'm source, I can handle it all, it's easy, whatever, put me down there. And you go down and you're like, this is crazy, this is so hard, you know.
Hmm.
And because um, uh, partly because of the forgetting, mainly, and that's the thing. I remember having that sense as a child, very strong in me, of sort of like, it's hard to use the words, but I would say, God force energy,
Hmm.
as it were, consciousness that was like, um, noble, you know, and I think that's every single being. Um, and then there's all this trauma, and that's, what they would talk about in Buddhism, all this accretion. It's the same thing as with breatharianism, the accumulation that happens from, and you getting used to things that don't serve you, don't ennoble you, don't, and you feel this like stepping down of your energy,
Hmm.
and that's, the breatharian path is essentially that, this clearing of the obstructions physically is also connected, with our psychic obstructions. And it, there is no pinnacle, there is no end, there's just like this process of coming into ever greater like connection with that inborn nobility that everyone carries, you know.
The
Um,
infinite energy.
yes, infinite energy, infinite intelligence, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I believe it's like it's sometimes it's figuring out life is simple, and then sometimes it's just so hard, you know? But it's
totally.
simple.
Yes.
You know, it's just like
It's always
it's
simple.
hard, but it's very simple.
Yes. It's always simple, and we make it hard. Or I,
We make it hard because it's just not easy to understand life, you know, because it's like so many tasks in it. It's just so
I think
it's you don't know what's real, what's not real, basically.
I think it's also a challenge that we just chose, as like a spirit. Like I've got this feeling, it's been with me my whole life. Like I came here to live fully,
Yeah.
like
Why does it have to be a challenge?
courageously, and to embrace the challenge. And then the trials, the things that have been so hard in my life have really deepened me,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
so uh, there's value in all of it. And, you know, there's the whole thing of like you can gaslight your own feelings and those edges of, but really to just go through the pain, acknowledge it, go through the good stuff, and just like you said before, just have it be a flow, don't be like, you know, attached to it. Just that can be like a bliss stream.
Mm-hmm.
You I really believe we can cultivate this stream of consciousness as sort of a bliss reality,
It is a
despite
bliss reality. Everything is actually
despite what's
magical.
going on,
Uh-huh.
despite like, and it's just unattaching your personal identification with these, things that like our thoughts or our job or this person that causes pain because we've associated and identified, and then like we
Yeah.
talked, you were pointing out last time of like that, anytime you identify the belief system with a thought at a person, then you kind of concretize
Yeah, you
your,
you solidify it basically, yeah. You just
you,
make it like a rock, yeah.
you imprison
Yeah. I mean
yourself.
like I feel like Jesse, I feel like this life is kind of like a psychedelic trip. And we just take it, yeah, we take it too serious, you know, like instead of like enjoying the ride, we really take it too serious. And every time we take things serious, it's like making a rock into the reality. And it's like, okay, now it's just serious. And you're just creating all the suffering with your own mind. But it's
I
just
agree.
our ideas that are the blocks.
I agree with you. We take things way too seriously, but I have seen in myself, it's like that whole thing of um, playful and fun, serious and hard, and there's just like temperature. There's cold and there's hot, but it's just all temperature, you know.
Hmm.
And so I feel like while I definitely prefer playfulness and fun and all that, and that you can cultivate more of that through your attitude and your practice. There is that thing of not pushing away against that which is difficult. And like, I remember even like playing drums, like the harder it was, the more fun it was, you know? So it's kind of you know, I think we really just like, we need to
It's like the
embrace this and
game
make,
too. The harder it is, the more fun it is. And
yeah,
if you're still on that easy path or easy level, it's not fun anymore, you know? Life is
but
just
just to embrace
life
it
is
all,
just like that.
just to
Hmm?
embrace it all,
Mhm.
just to
But I
just
think also
welcome
again,
is
like we were talking about the body carrying ideas and all of that. It's like, you know, you said it's all just temperature, but we are programmed to think hot, cold, you know?
yeah.
So it's the programs that are the obstacles, and like we can be flowing in a in a very solid world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like it's a very concrete world because of we create this reality with our ideas and our thoughts, and our ideas and our thoughts are very, you know, um how can I describe it? Since
Well,
we take
we
hmm?
confuse them to be real. So, um, you know, imaginal things, it's because they become real. Imaginal acts become facts, you know. But
Mhm.
at the same time, you putting your stock in something is real that you don't want, or some, that that doesn't serve you. That doesn't help you heal or anything. It just causes confusion and pain. So
We're good at that. We're
we're
good at
good at
creating
having fun too.
confusion, pain,
We're good at having fun, and we're good at but
suffering.
most of the it's like that's what I'm seeing is that there's all these studies like the human mind has like 57,000 thoughts a day or something, and the great majority of them, like 90% plus, are negative and self-directed.
That's
And
exactly what I
that's
believe. I feel like the mind just likes to create problems, and then it likes to look for solutions. It's
well,
like
that's
it's the weirdest thing.
it likes puzzles and stuff, and that's why I really resonate with what Drunvalon Kizadek says is we got to move out of our heads and into our hearts, because your heart is a place of knowing, it's a place of loving and compassion, but your head is always battling, it always likes the puzzles, it likes judging,
I mean,
and
it's
what
valid.
gives us
Whatever he's
pain,
doing is valid.
what gives us pain are the afflictive thoughts,
Hmm.
of like, oh, am I going to be late for this job thing, or am I going, or oh, is this person going to accept and love me, or and instead of just being in that place of your heart in love and bold compassion and courage, and openness, that place of vulnerability. Everybody talks about vulnerability. I think is the safest place you got, actually, you know.
Yeah,
And
I mean, like again, we can remove the mind. You know, I think like we should sink more into the heart when it comes to listening and making decisions and stuff. But at the same time, it's the mind that discerns as well. And then, so you have to find a way
to
for
integrate
them to work
the
together.
two.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
So
Yes.
it becomes like a balance, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the yin and the yang. So you feel with your heart, but like the Taoists say, stay to the yin, stay to the feminine, to that accepting, loving
Trust
vibration.
it. Yeah.
Trust
Is
it,
that trust?
because there's that whole thing. The other mind wants to control and is really anxious about it.
Hmm.
The yang mind, wants to use will, effort, everything it can to bend the reality to its will, and that's
Mm.
important. You got to be able to go get some food and build a house, or whatever, walk around, navigate through your life, interact with people, and you need your yang mind, to protect you. But I think of the heart as more of the yin mind and the wisdom mind, you know,
Hmm.
and the yang more that practical, that is good to check in with, because it gives you, you know, if the yang, if divine masculinity is in balance, it gives protection, support, safe space, containment, you know,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
if it's not, it's controlling and, vindictive and wild and erratic, and, you know, so, and to, cultivate those different energies inside of us, knowing, that that's the truth of what we are, but with some intention and cognizance, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
instead of just like flowing back and forth from emotions to like, being overly rational and forcing yourself into a situation you don't like, or
Yeah. Yeah. Our mind is always like working.
yeah.
It's always working on
It
something.
never stops, never will stop, you know. So just to
I
rest
mean, we
with it.
don't want it to
No,
stop,
no, no, no.
you
It's
know.
nice.
We don't want it to.
It's nice when
I
we can get it to
appreciate my
quiet.
mind.
It's nice
Yeah, I really
when it's
appreciate my
quiet,
mind.
but I appreciate my mind too. I have fun exploring and seeing all the puzzles, and I'm like a little bit addicted to puzzle solving
Yeah,
myself. Like
as
it's
you should, as you should. I mean,
it's
that's
fun.
the biggest puzzle, and the more you figure out about yourself, the more you figure out about everything else, and it's like, oh my God, life is not that complicated after all.
It's
It's it really
really
isn't,
fun.
you know. And when I say it, like people will think like, oh, if you don't have any problems or this, and that, and all of that, it's not about that, you know. Like you will see, you know, every day is dilemma, every day is drama, every day is like it's not like I'm not experiencing all of that. I just know all of that has its place, you know. And life is really not that complicated.
And you choose not to over identify with it,
Yeah,
and
there's
let
no
it
way.
be, let it affect your well-being.
Hmm.
And that's just good boundaries and things that people need to you know
For
learn
your
better.
own good, you know,
It's
don't identify yourself with every
it's
situation.
better
Like it
for everyone.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when I say like, you know, life is simple, life is this, and that, I don't mean like, oh yeah, you know, my life is all figured out and everything.
Uh,
It's just that I'm looking forward to figuring myself out, you know? Like
yeah.
I don't I don't take it so too serious either to just even figure myself out. I don't take that serious. It's just it is what it is. I am here, so let me just
Yeah.
have fun.
I just want to know myself and know the world and connect with all the awesome people and plants and things. I just am just
Exactly.
awe of all of it. It's so incredible. It's like it's I think everybody has that experience, and it's easy to attach even to that. I definitely struggle with that. Of like, this is such a wonderful thing, and then it becomes like this jewel in your mind, and you kind of hold on to it in a way, and just gotta let it all just come and go,
I
and
know.
appreciate the beauty and love it in the moment, and and give thanks. But it's like it's interesting because the way you put it, life really is simple, and it's even with regard to like all this health stuff and everything like that. I think a lot of our complication is mostly being born into the system and society that we are, because you look around the world, like people in Africa, people in Costa Rica, people you know in poverty, so happy, smile,
So happy.
and
Like you
feel
seen the videos that I've shared?
mhm.
Yeah, those kids, they're always happy. Always happy because
Yeah.
yeah.
And all you really need is some food, or sustenance, song in your heart. It's like and the stars and nature will guide you through all of the needed transformation and work and things. We don't have to give ourselves extra ahead of time. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those kids really when I see the joy in their eyes and you know, some people will think that they don't have anything, you know, but they have everything. They just don't have money,
Yeah.
right? And some people all they have is money and nothing else. So it's like I'd rather wanna you know, have everything else and be joyful like that. And, you know, paper
The
shouldn't
true,
make you like that.
the true
So then they are
rich.
creative. They can use their mind. It's not they don't have toys, but they can create toys out of what they have. Have you seen the things
I've
that they
seen
create out of just
some
things
awesome
around them?
musicians,
Yeah,
awesome kids just making stuff like out of tin cans and boxes and
exactly.
drum
That's how we're
sets and
supposed to do.
guitars. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
as it
awesome,
should.
awesome musicians. And
Yeah,
it's not what you
creativity.
buy, it's what you make of things. And it's like I really think that the real wealth of this world is that
Mm,
joyful heart,
yeah,
and that
it
feeling of
really
peace.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, health
And you
is
don't find that in material. You really don't.
yeah.
It's you know, like they say the paradise is in your mind. Hell is also in your mind and it's not like something outside of yourself. So it's like, yeah, do we really need all this material to be joyful and happy? Do we need to get to that material? Do we need to go to that country? Do we have to go to those places to feel joy in our heart? Or can we just find it in our breath? You know, just being able to take a fresh breath, being
Yes.
able to use your body. Like all of that, if we find that moment where we can, find gratitude in everything that we already really have, I think the universe will multiply because of that energy is what you're putting out. We have more than we really think, but since we are fixated on wanting more and more and more and more, we really don't know what we have. But today, like if you just broke a leg and you can't even go from your living room to your bathroom, then you will know, like, okay, oh my God, I had a leg that was functioning.
Hmm.
But today, since you have it, you can appreciate that. You don't
Yeah.
think about that, right? So, like, just taking that moment sometimes, like, even if it feels like so hard, right? Just taking that moment and just like appreciating the things that you have. And I don't mean like material stuff. It's just like, the ability to even think, the ability to discern, right from
Each
wrong, you know.
other. Each other is something, that is like really correlated with long life, with, true happiness. We actually, there is so much love inside us that can emanate from within, and that
Mm-hmm.
connection with self and love. And I think it's important to have times away from people so that you can connect with that more thoroughly. But equally, we need each other.
We,
We
we
need to
really
be
do.
together and
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
connect, and it
It's like
fills our heart.
we mirror each other, so we really need to remind each other that, okay, we are being, right? So
Are,
it's important. Human relationship is very
are
important.
you familiar with human design at all?
Hmm.
That and the whole way in which we all have like different energetic channels based on our
Yeah.
astrology, and some places that energy can't flow until some person comes in who has that in their energy chart. You
Hmm.
being with them helps you be more of yourself and be more embodied in that way of being, a transmitter, receiver, channel of
Hmm.
consciousness.
I believe that.
And I totally feel it. Sometimes just going to see a person, like, just really relieves my heart and mind. you know it's not anything they said or did, it's just their energy.
Yeah, yeah. No, we really, I mean, like, we are not separated. Like I said, again, it's the mind that makes us believe in this illusion of reality, but nothing is separated, right? So for that reason, we do actually need each other. And I know a lot of people don't value the relationship, with human beings in general. Even like, I understand that people think about the romantic, the family, the this and that,
Yeah,
but
I
human
can get
relationship in general, yeah, is very important.
so
So,
vital. It's so important.
mhm.
And
But just to learn to take a moment, like just like create that as an habit. Like it doesn't matter if you think you have something or not, you know, because sometimes we just don't know until we lose it. So just like taking a moment really every day. Just try it like every day. Just take a moment and just like be thankful. For it could be the smallest thing. Just be grateful, right? And the universe will really, really just like bring the same energy back because everything is a vibration and energy. And whatever we think, and like earlier you were talking about success, right? You feel like maybe you're not where you wanted to be when it comes to career and whatever, and however we think, like I think about it sometimes like, oh my God, this is not what I envisioned, this is not what I thought I would be, but at the same time I think it's like there's nothing in the way but ourselves, nothing but ourselves. That's that little fear inside you that think that you cannot. That
mhm.
simply is. It's not even a
Yeah.
karma from your past life or anything like that. It's
Mhm.
simply that little thought inside of you, that little fear inside of you that think that you cannot do it. So if you tell yourself that you can do it and do it now,
Mhm.
you know, I
You
don't
know
see why
about that
not.
with muscle testing, right?
Hmm.
You know about muscle
No,
testing?
Tell me
So
about it.
muscle testing, you could like you could take like a tincture or whatever, or a piece of fruit or whatever you might consume, and you put it near your heart, and you put your arm out, and you have someone try to push down
Oh
your
yeah, yeah,
hand.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if it comes easily, that means it's not going to help you. It's going to make you weaker. And if you're strong to it, then it means it's good for you. And you can even just say the words "I can" and
Mm-hmm.
muscle test that, and you'll see everyone is the same for everyone. Muscle try it with a friend, you know, just muscle test and say "I can." You'll see you'll be strong, and then say "I can't," and you know,
Mm.
it,
See,
literally the words we speak alter our DNA, and the thoughts
I
that we
believe that.
think, the intention and the energy attached with the, the thoughts or the words are really what does it, you know. But you're absolutely right, and it's that thing of that's part of the practice that they talk about in Buddhism. It's like clearing the obstructions, practicing gratitude, practicing generosity. If you think about, like this Rinpoche was pointing out, if you look at someone like, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, um, you know, um, the Dalai Lama, they have all these people have like never been about seeking money. They've given of themselves generously, and they've always been supported like kings,
Mm-mm.
because they're coming from that energy of love, of like integrity, of caring and compassion and action.
Exactly,
I don't know.
exactly. And they know within themselves that whatever that they're receiving, they deserve it.
Hmm.
That's your
Yeah,
birthright.
and
So it's like in that belief.
they're humble to it, but they're not like a lot of us would be,
Attached.
where it'd be like, I don't deserve it. No, like someone tries to offer you love or help, or and you're like, oh, no, 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 because you don't want to trouble them. That's
Mm.
really that's really you being, in a way, sort of rude,
Resistance.
resistant to help being offered, a loving gesture. That
Mm-hmm.
if you allow, if it is in alignment, to allow it to happen, if it's not, again,
It
disturbing
won't
your
happen. Yeah.
boundaries and your well-being, then you give them an opportunity to practice a different karma, and make
Mm-hmm.
a change that betters the collective. You know, whatever. That's what I resonate about what he said. Is like, it doesn't matter what it is. If you believe in hell and and all that stuff, if it helps you be a better person,
Mm-hmm.
kind, better, in more integrity with yourself and your values, like, that's what you should do.
I believe that too. I really, sometimes you hear me talk about religion as a belief systems, which I believe that that's what it is. But then at the same time, I really appreciate people that follow religion, because it's like it's a rule book, right? It's rules that some people don't have those common sense. So it says in the Bible, it says in the Quran, or it says in their, other books. Can't come up with anyone. But
Yeah.
if it says in the book, then they will do it,
Mhm.
right? The most criminal person will do it. Like sometimes when I'm in traffic, I'm so happy that it's a traffic rule. Aren't you? Like,
Yeah,
if
totally.
people wouldn't stop on the traffic light, that would be a problem, right? If it was like up to everyone, you can stop whenever you want. If it's like the first person there, it would be a chaos, right? So I find religion as that kind of like a structure where, okay, just like a traffic light will tell you to stop. If the majority knows that, okay, red light means stop, then it would help us, not crash with each other, right? So having religious, I feel like that brings order into this reality. But then getting out of that belief system and getting into your own, trying to realize, like, okay, what is beyond this belief that I was told? That's like when you starting to, discover yourself and discover things that are beyond this reality. But I really, really, really appreciate religion, because if it wasn't religion, that would be a chaos.
The,
That would
the
be
other thing
chaos.
that's beneficial about religion, I feel, is the practice of faith, like we were just talking about, like to just trust it's all like you were saying, like when everything like I'm driving here and then like all of a sudden there's like a car wreck or whatever and I gotta go there. That's what's supposed to happen. That's taking me
Mhm.
to where I'm supposed to go.
Exactly.
Trusting that,
Exactly.
instead of freaking out like, oh, I'm gonna be late, this thing, and oh, I can't, whatever. You could just be like, okay, good. This is maybe I averted an accident, like because it's just sending me this way.
Absolutely. It's
You know,
always redirecting you, for your highest good.
yeah.
That's
To
what we
practice
have to.
to practice that and knowing that it's creation is guiding it all, and that you don't have to do so much. The
Mhm.
doership, and the personhood of who you got to become and what you got to do and who you got to be, and
Yeah.
releasing that is, I think, just conducive to well-being and peace.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, everything is orchestrated.
Mhm.
It's just like a matter of time for us to realize it. Will you realize it in this lifetime that this is a show? Will you have to come back for different episodes to realize it? Like it's just, matter of time, really. And I think like I have been on so many different episodes. Like this is my last episode. I'm just done. If it's anything that I need to build that will keep my memory, in place, if it's another body that I need to build for the next realm or whatever I need to do, like I'm ready for
I
it.
think
Whatever
you're
practices
doing
it
it.
takes for me to,
I think you're doing it.
because
I think it's that self-reflection and that, just being willing to. It takes a bit of bravery actually to, follow your. It takes a lot of bravery to follow your guides, your heart, to look at yourself deeply, you know,
yeah,
inside.
that's why I say like I think I've lived maybe many lives because that's the only thing I can follow. Like I can't
Yeah.
even follow a simple instruction coming outside of myself. It's like everything has to come from within, and I'm building that trust where, whether I call it the universe, whatever I call it, that's the inner force. There's something that's bigger and higher than this body and this reality, right? So before my time here ends with this body, I really want to figure it out. That's how I see reality. Like I need to figure more of myself so I can figure out this reality, so I can figure out this, my next step, because there is no end to me, right? There is an end to the body, which makes sense because it's a tool. But my infinite essence, like the energy, the me, there's no end to it. So for me to just recycle each time to a body that just like, okay, now we are like clean slate again. You just like coming from a different body, or you coming from a different gene, or maybe you're an animal, whatever like people believe, right? I don't want to end up like that again. But I know 100% sure that this is something that, because there is a memory, in this body, even though if the gene is not remembering the same memory as the soul, it's something that this is the body wanted to wake up in, basically, right? This body is the one that it chose to wake up in. Does that make sense?
The Egyptians feel that this body is actually a seed for a higher dimension.
Mm. Makes
And
sense.
that's what I think this whole process of breatharianism is. And it's also in the stars for the astrology that's, you know, uh, coming in more every day, is that we are
Mm.
becoming another race, that we're becoming a race not as dense.
Mm.
Not, and it's this awakening, it's, purification of the mind, and it's like the Buddhists say, no mud, no lotus, nirvana arrives in samsara. So
Mm.
all of the muck and shit and difficulty and war and, all the crap
Mm.
is actually very fertile uh, shit to grow.
But yeah, but it,
The
it makes sense though. Just
blossoming comes from
yeah,
this. If you look at any plant, it's a reflection of nature. The birds shit, the leaves fall, animals die. Under the tree, it
yeah,
feeds the tree. The tree grows.
yeah.
You know.
Like where does the seed grow? In the soil, right? in the dark. So it's the same thing with us too. I don't really think it's anybody that would just like get born and life is just like, flowing and everything is so fine and you just get enlightened and you just like no, you don't, you need to wake up the hard way, right? And it's like, just like a
Oh,
seed, you need to go through that darkness, you need to grow through it. You need to know like what kind of plant you are, and then you got to figure out what kind of fruit that you have. And all of that is a process of growth, right? And that's life. So I don't really think the path comes with, growing up and then you just come up from this little comfortable life and you just wake up to yourself. That's
you got to
that's not
meet
what I believe it
the
is.
wind, and you got to meet the sun and the ice and
Yeah.
the, you know,
All
uh,
of it, and you have to
drought,
conquer it. Yeah,
flood.
you have to conquer all the elements to go through you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's, it does kind of make sense. Some of the people out in the world are talking about, is this reality a uh, a simulation? You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
but that, like any simulation, like you would do a simulated, uh, you would put someone who's going to be a pilot through a flight simulator before you put them in a plane, because there's some dire consequences, you know, that are
Yeah.
very real. So I think there's layers of levels of reality, where reality has more realness. You know.
Mm. It makes sense. I used to always walk around and think like, oh, what if this is just a simulation? I still do. I would have that random thought, like, oh, what if this whole thing is just that? What if I don't even, you know,
Hmm.
which
Yeah,
is
and
true,
we're
I wouldn't care if that was the truth.
experiencing it through our minds. We feel like it's a reality because we see it with our five senses, but it's our mind that experiences them.
Mm.
So, at the very least, the reality we're taking in is simulated through the hardware of a brain, you know.
Yeah, and we creating this reality, and then we believe it's real, and then we live in it. Yeah.
But where the deeper that level of reality that's more real is like that quantum level of reality that is the inner reality. And that all our atoms right now are buzzing and vibrating and spinning, and it's mostly space. We're not dense.
Hmm.
Even now, we're light beings, you know. Um, and but the denseness is in the consciousness. It's in that ability. That's what I see the breatharian practice to be, is to just get good connectivity and good flow of the consciousness energy,
Yeah.
by dissolving the physical and mental obstructions, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Sorry, dog duty.
Dog duty. It's getting dark in here.
Yeah, yeah. I want to respect your time and, let you have your evening. I know you just got home, so
Yeah.
um,
No, I'm fine.
okay,
I am fine.
yeah, okay,
I'm off on Mondays, so and I don't actually work now, so which is great. So
nice.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. It's like winter is usually sort of my downtime. I have so many
Mm.
things that I've been activating that I've just been kind of cranking the whole time. But the last few weeks, I've been able to just like allow myself to just put it down a little bit, and it's been really good medicine. You know,
Good.
and you gotta recharge if you're gonna keep going. Um, so, but it's like, you see, we're at a pretty pivotal time, I think, and uh, there's a lot I want to activate on to make transformation in my life right now. So I think this is actually where we're going to create heaven and or hell on the collective external in the coming years.
I feel like we've
So
always done that.
I'll be working on, you know, the side of nature, helping people heal and growing, helping land heal. And that's the wonderful thing. You were talking about, a lot of us come here and like, why are we here? And what is, and like, I remember those questions used to plague me so much when I was young, and coming into this lifestyle of herbalism, permaculture, breatharianism, learning that you're supported completely by the world,
Mhm.
by the universe, you know, and that I have a purpose in and a meaningful purpose in the cultivation and the creation of benefit for all those beings in the world. Like I just remember, and it's still with me. Is like I'm just so grateful to have found my purpose. There's so many people who don't live their whole life not knowing their purpose and like just entertaining and like self-soothe, drinking and sex and everything to try to make their life better, and then they
Yeah.
feel empty. You know.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
where like gratitude again. You have to just feel like, "Oh, I'm grateful for my mind. I'm grateful for, you know, just being able to just find that there is a way to find yourself, like
yeah.
just that it's enough, even like you just
It gives
speculating or
confidence.
like being interested in yourself is even enough, like. But we always want something more, and we always think like, okay, there's something more to do, and oh, but I'm not breatharian yet. And I
Yeah.
always, every time I hear that kind of comments, I just always feel like you haven't just understood, there is nothing to be, there's nothing to become. It's just, that realization of knowing that, hey, I am everything,
Accepting who you are, accept just that realization. I think that's the doorway into it. Is just to be like, this is just what I am. You know,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
okay
the
with it.
realization. I mean, like success, I know we call success different things, but I think like success in life is really like the
Just
more awareness that you gain about what is and about yourself,
mm-hmm.
um
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, the more you succeed in life, because
I
success
think
in life is not like achieving material stuff to me. It's more like,
it's just
understanding life itself.
contentment in my mind. Like just being okay with things as they are is cool. You
Yeah,
know,
if you
it's good.
knew who you are and what you're doing here and the purpose of the state, wouldn't you be content?
Yeah, I can tell you that I've definitely touched that space and felt that deep contentment.
Mm.
You know, and then you feel it, and you're like, okay, how do I maintain this? You know,
Then you just be in it,
yeah,
you know.
that's absolutely the truth of it. It's and trusting it. Trusting it will support you. That's that thing, that faith thing again. Just letting go of the control.
Yeah,
You know, trusting the feeling that is moving you forward and just moving with that energy.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I better wrap up because my wife's trying to get dinner, and once again, I had my or gallon of juice, and I really have to go to the bathroom.
All right.
But,
But it's always nice talking to you, brother, and thank you so much for the conversation. I wanted to ask you some herbs about,
oh,
low blood pressure, but yeah, I can ask you in message.
yeah.
But
Ask me. Yeah, and I'll be glad to help.
all right.
So,
But this was fun
thank
as always. Thank you
yeah,
so much.
thank you for joining. Nabiha. Love you, sister. Have a
Love you
beautiful
too.
evening,
You
and
too.
look forward to seeing you again soon.
Okay.
Blessings, family. Be
Okay.
well.